The third chakra is like an outgoing force. It's an expression. Okay? Oh shoot, this pen's not working. So we have an arrow here. Okay, so you have energy that's moving, and the third chakra its job is to express yourself. The thing is that what you don't understand is that when I'm standing here, not doing anything, you can feel how much expression there is. It never stops expressing you. Your illusion that you're only expressing yourself when you're doing something interesting is a lie. It's crazy. The third chakra works 24 hours a day. You are constantly expressing yourself. The question is, what are you expressing? The third chakra is also the servant of the entire system. I mean, this entire field has a mind that says, we are going to express ourselves in the world this way. Oh yeah, but this whole field is often not this whole field, a little tiny thing that's all wrapped around us because we got all these vows in every one of our chakras that push our energy out into our mask, and the mask becomes what we express, this false self. The vow says, I'm not going to be, I will never be, or I will always be, right? The vow always, it's a never, I will never be that, or I'll always be this. It makes a vow because there was a life or death crisis in your childhood where you had to do that. And you stuck it in that, whatever it is. I will never say anything bad about people. Except for those bastards. No. I will never say anything bad about people. Okay? And now, someone says, well, how do you think, what do you feel about, Johnny who, whatever, smacked your brother or did, it's like, and pretty soon you got neck problems, you got, because you can't speak the truth. You can't express your truth because you vowed not to. And your body is designed to express your truth. That's all it does. That third chakra, it is expressing your truth until you tell it can't. And then it's going to lock up. So understanding that the energy of sort of core, the earth energy, your presence, the lower self energy comes up into the third chakra. So who I am as a body, my emotions, everything come up here to the third chakra. My ideas, my ideas, my relationships, all of this higher self comes down. And the job is for the third chakra to just like the fifth chakra pulls everything together and speaks it, the third chakra actually takes action on the planet, actually moves. It's the part of you that is you. It's the isness of life. And its job is to pull these things together. So this is why it's really important to understand that when you have vows in your chakras, you lie with what you do. Just think about that. You can't help yourself. When you have vows in your chakras that say you can't be, I had a vow when I was a little kid. I found out that smiling worked. I've mentioned this to you many times. And so my knowledgeable achiever was like, you gotta have no needs, and you gotta smile a lot. Even when you're not so happy. And so, even though the truth is that I'm a pretty smiley guy, this is a lie. And you could feel it. Now, you wouldn't pick it up right away. You'd just be like, I don't know what it's, I come in there and I'm like, hey, how's everybody going? Great. We're going to just go some great stuff this weekend. And you'll be like, I got to get out of this room. You don't even know why you have to get out of the room. And I wouldn't know why you have to get out of the room. Because I think I'm being nice. Right? Even though I like to smile. I do like to smile. But you can see when I shifted from that to my actual smile and making fun of this, you can feel me. And when you can feel me, my chakras are open and they're coming through my actions. And so you can look at the responses you're getting from people and you can kind of see whether you're being genuine or not. Your third chakra is what ultimately the third chakra can be. It can be run in a number of different ways. But basically, when it's run by the vows, you are only half of who you actually are. It'll be part of you. There'll be some of you there, but the parts that are never are out, and the parts that are always, you're trying, but you're failing dismally. Okay, because you can never always do anything. You can never do anything. So you're always sort of like you're against yourself too. But what happens is that this energy field, and obviously this center here especially is your purpose. That's why we teach you the profile, because the profile is sort of this nice way we can chunk down what a purpose would be like and would feel like. And this energy is your purpose. And when you are on purpose, and when you feel, which is this whole energy system, who I am, and I'm willing to express that in the third chakra. Okay, my actions are the servant of purpose. And your third chakra, when it's the servant of purpose, you are living your life purpose and you are an inspiration in the world. The other way that it can go is the servant of whim. Whim is what you are trying to get just in the now, right? I gotta act this way. I gotta do this thing. I gotta do this, and it's a compromise. I do this. Those types of that, and so you don't want a will, your third chakra, your actions, to be the servant of your whim. And the whim is going to be, it can be a lifelong whim, which is I'll always be good, or I'll vow to do this, or I vow to never forgive that person, and that's a whim. That's a little bitty, tiny, purposeless thought. I don't care if that person ran over every one of your relatives, and you're like, that belief that I can never forgive that person is a whim. It is, in the eyes of God, and in reading the Great Divorce, up in heaven, it would be not even big enough to notice. It would be the tiniest nothing. But your purpose was never touched by that event, even though it was a trauma. When we talk about your big why, often you've had major events that have forced you to be self-righteous and hold back and not be who you are. And that's whim. My trying to be a knowledgeable achiever my whole life and suffering and lying to people about who I was for a long, long, long time was whim. It was my little bitty ego wanted to be seen that way and didn't want people to see the crazy Fruit Loop that I am. I'm using, if I add in too many concepts, yes, you used it to survive, but the reality is that when you give your survival skills too much power, too much importance, you lose the reality that you chose it on a whim. In that moment as a child, you could have chosen to see this as no problem, or you could have chosen to see it as something that will now create a crisis for me for the rest of my life and ruin my relationships and hurt my family and all of that sort of stuff. Whim. So it's important to understand that vows are whim. You chose them. You chose them to survive, but so when you hear Anodea Judith talk about the will or the third chakra being servant of purpose or whim, purpose is your highest quality of your profile. It's this whole field. It's this unbendable, non-negotiable quality within you that you were born to be, and you know it. But you vowed against it because nobody else has one like mine. I'd much rather be like everybody else. I think everybody else would like me to do this. And so if you look back at, and when we talk about the big why this weekend, we're going to have you look back, and who have you tried to be? That's whim. Who are you? Who do you think you should be? And who have you tried to be? That's the use of this third chakra, and probably all your chakras, but definitely third chakra. What you've presented to the world, the way I dress, the way I, everything. That's whim. And your third chakra can serve all of your whims, and you can be angry at people for not accepting your whims. But they're whimsical. They have nothing to do with your life purpose. They may have well, I can't say that. Remember, it's always or never, so it's one side or the other. It's only a tiny piece of your life purpose, but it'll never be the whole thing, and and they will always feel like there's something missing in you. They won't be able to connect fully. They won't be able to be inspired by you, which is ultimately what you're here to do. Okay. Any questions on that? Understand how that works? Energy gets pooled. It's like the third chakra. It's like the what are those like the power grid. It comes all together in one point, and then gets built up and then sent out. That's what the third chakra is like. It integrates power, integrates all the power, the motivation, everything from all the energy centers. All these energy centers are taking in energy. It's like electricity coming into the body, and it all gets pooled into the third chakra so that you can actually move this thing that has a first chakra that actually you can see, and you move it in the world. You can also move your energy field long distance and do a healing. I can be working with somebody 100 miles away, 1,000 miles away on the other side of the earth, and just energetically move with my will, with my intention, myself. So we know how to move ourselves in the world. That's what the third chakra does. If it comes from your purpose, you are filled by your movements, by your actions. If it comes from your whim, you are constantly drained. That's how you know whether you're coming from whim or purpose. If you get drained by your life, you're coming from whim. If everything you do fills you, you're coming from purpose. Now, I'm not suggesting that everybody should be totally, a saint, living on water and a donut every couple of weeks, and no sleep. But you want to start recognizing how exhausted you get doing certain things and realize that I'm lying. That's got to be a lie. That has to be a lie. That is a long-term lie for me. Things that exhaust me, I'm lying. I'm lying about who I am or what I want to be doing there. And I'm not saying you have to change what you're doing. You just have to change the person you bring to what that is. Okay? Sometimes changing what you're doing is good, but other times just remembering that you forgot to bring yourself to that event, like your job. All right. Okay.